Hey, what's up everybody? Gibberish here. Excited for this video. I'm going to walk you through how to upload MaUI by Blinkii. Blinkii is the creator of mMediatags, the add-on that has hundreds of thousands of downloads. I think it's over 600,000 downloads. It's been around for many years. Blinkii is amazing. He has created an amazing suite of add-ons, and if you're familiar with JiberishUI, you'll know that every profile that I've created that lives outside of my installer is built off of MaUI. So I wanted to make sure to make a video on MaUI and how you can get this into your hands and start, making this your own as well. But this is completely free. I'll make sure this is linked in the video description as well. But this is one of my favorite profiles ever created, thanks to Blinkii. And again, all my profiles that you'll see on my Discord are actually built off of this profile. And I'll show a couple screenshots from my Discord too. But this has a written description of how to get this set up as well. But I'm going to walk through how to do it live in this video. The profile includes profiles for retail and classic. There's also some profiles for DBM and details. Here's a link to Blinkii's Discord here. But this profile is amazing. It also includes nameplate priority colors for LVUI nameplates. So if you're into Mythic Plus and want to have coloration for all the new dungeons and understand, what NPC should we prioritize, who should we be interrupting, that's all included here as well. And with this profile and the coloration, it's beautiful. It also leverages altruism and some of the gradients. So the nameplates and the unit frames are really just the best. This is definitely my favorite profile that's ever been created. And again, that's why I make a lot of my profiles based off of this profile. So to give you an idea as well, let me hop into my Discord. And I can share a few screenshots of some of the MaUI edits that I've made. So this was just released to Fabled Myths. This is Objectivity, so it's called. It also requires Kringle MediaTags, but this is built off MaUI. This is another version of this with some of the portraits. Bordered Menace, Valued UI, Fabled, Healer, Dividing Edge, Bright Fable. These were all built off of MaUI. So again, I thought it would be important just to show you how to import this yourself so you can make some of your own edits too, or just use the profile that Blinkii has made because it's truly remarkable. And I love it so much, but there's a lot you can do. There's a lot that you can do to customize it and make it your own as well. So let's get right into this. When you come into LVUI, I always recommend to first make a backup of your interface and WTF folder. Start new. It's always good to have a fresh profile, especially when you're doing something new like this. If you don't want to make a backup, just make sure when you come into LVUI, in Profiles, just make a new profile, and I also recommend making a new private profile as well. That just makes sure that you're importing on a clean, fresh profile, so that's highly recommended. The things that you also need to have before you do this is LVUI, obviously. You'll also need mMediatag and altruism. I also have details shown here because there's a details profile that's included with the MaUI that we can set up too, or you can grab one of my details profiles off of my Discord. But these are the required add-ons that you need. You can get them on CurseForge or WowUp CF. LVUI specifically, you can only get on WowUp CF or through the TuckUI website or just through WowUp. But anyways, when you set up the fresh profile, you have altruism. When you first log in, this is what will pop up. It's important to skip the install. So don't exit it. Don't go through the installer and choose options. Just skip the install. And if it's your first time using LVUI, I do recommend going through this installer. Just a couple options. Just set up the CVARs and set up the chat. You can then just go continue all the way through and hit finished. So reload, and it'll look just like it did. But now, since we skipped the install for Altruism, you'll see this down here on the bottom left. mMediatag just leverages some of the Altruism components. It doesn't actually leverage specific profiles that Altruism has created. So you'll see this here now. We're going to leverage some of those once we import the profiles. Here's mMediatag as well. But when you come over into this website that will be linked, there's going to be instructions down here of how to import. There's a couple different profiles that you can choose from. You can choose a tank profile. You can choose a healer profile that has centered unit frames. You can also choose another type of healer profile that has the unit frames over to the left as well. So the instructions share, you're going to copy the profile, private, global, and nameplate string into each section of LVUI under LVUI profile import. What that looks like, if you come over into LVUI profiles, imports, you're going to see these empty boxes. This is where we'll put the profile, private, global, and nameplate. So, come back over here. Let's grab the retail string. That's what we're going to be using. Just going to open up a new profile here. Here are the profiles. So let's do the heal left. This is also good for DPS. Same with the tank one. These are both good DPS profiles, but let's go with the heal left one. Just as this example, I've opened it here. It said that we needed the private string, nameplate, global. Another thing you can grab here is actually the Blizzard profile. So the edit mode, we can pull that too. So first off, let's grab this profile, the heal left. We're going to copy this, paste it into one of these boxes. This is the private. I'm going to copy, drop it here. Let's take the nameplate profile, drop, and the global as well. All four are put in. You'll now hit import. You'll see some things switch around, and then this pop-up. Hit accept. It's going to reload. It's going to apply a lot of the settings, the private profile, the strings. You'll see the profile has popped up now. Altruism is going to come up again. You're going to skip the install. It just happens after you apply private strings. It still is just applying some of the settings from Altruism, and it's going to pop up and show you that. That's how easy it is to get this profile. And it is truly amazing. I love this so much. I'm going to walk through a few of the things that you can do, but you'll see the player frame on the left. It has the cast bar right in the power frame. The target cast bar is right here in the middle. You have your target over here on the right, and then your target of target and the target of target of target. Is that too many? I don't know. On the bottom, you'll see this awesome mdoc bar. All these custom icons for your micro bar. So your character, got your spell book, have your guild, a community, your friend list, achievements, quests, your dungeons and raids, your journal, collections tab, your volume that you can just adjust with a click, shop, and then the calendar. You can customize this bar as well. I'll show you what that looks like, but here is the setup of the profile. Let's check out the party frames. So if I come into unit frames, group units, here's the party frames over onto the left. Raid. Looks beautiful. So some quick things that I typically do. I'm not a big fan of this font. It looks good. It's very simple. But a quick way to change the font across LVUI and the unit frames and things like that, you can come into Altruism, Media, and you can choose one of your custom fonts that you have in your profile. So lots to choose from with Altruism, with LVUI, and then mMediatag actually adds quite a few different options as well, including these Montserrat fonts. So let's actually just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to hit Montserrat. You'll see that it just changed the font across the unit frames, even the custom text here that's shown, the chat frames. This data bar at the bottom is separate, but I'll show you how to change that font. But this is an amazing new function from Altruism that I love. It makes it super easy to change the font across the profile. You can also quickly add shadow outline to all the components. This is one of my new favorite functions from LVUI as well. You can see this font now is just really popping on the frames and has this shadowy effect to it. It's the shadow outline. I love it. If we come then into data text, panels, you'll see some of these different bars down here that are at the bottom now. For the clock, we can come into the MaUI time. Quickly change this font. I can make the width a little bit bigger so it shows the full time. You can then come into the left where it shows like durability, talent. You can change the font here as well. So very, very easy just to come into the data text panels, and then you can just change the font to match throughout. Easy as that. I'm not going to spend too much time here. You get the picture. You can't change the font over here. Maybe you can actually for like the 50% there, it shows like I have 72 friends on. Maybe enable this. I'm honestly not sure. Yeah, maybe if I reload, it'll change it. We'll see that once I make a reload. But you have this data bar at the bottom now. So there are a few different options for this data bar. If you come into mMediatag, into doc, lots of things you can change, even for like the achievements, this button, you can choose a different icon for it if you wanted to. Lots of different options. There's even like these white icons that you can choose, or all these different colorations. So if you want to change what these icons are specifically, you can come up here, click into each one that you want, like the shop. Maybe you just want this white $sign instead. You can do that. You can also come into create mdoc, and let's say you didn't want this at the bottom. You can just hit delete all. It'll delete it, and you can reload, and it's no longer there. Super easy. If you wanted to choose a different mdoc, create mdoc, there's a few options. You have this XIV style, you have this MMT extra, and just this MMT doc. So there's a lot you can do here, and really it's as easy as clicking, let's go on the XIV like, it'll pop up. Sometimes it actually won't pop up until you reload, but now I have that data bar at the bottom again. You can then go in, change the font just like I showed you in LVUI data text. If I go back into this MaUI thing, let's actually grab the details as well. My screen's bugging out a little bit. Let's go into details. Oh, file's not found. I'll have to tell Blinkii that. If you want, for now, in my Discord, towards the bottom under JiberishUI, I have, and this is free for everybody, I have a lot of details profiles available. I also have Omni CD profiles if you would like, but it has like a ton of my details and it'll show a quick glimpse of what it looks like. So it's as easy as just downloading this file right here. You can open it up. Just right here in this file over here on my other screen, sorry. I can copy this. I can open details options, profiles, import profile, paste it. I can name it whatever I want. OK. And there we go. I can also close this window. I don't like to have my loot and trade over here on the right hand side, so I can just close that. Can line this up a little bit. I won't mess around with pixel perfect right now, but now we got this profile over here on the right hand side. A lot you can do here within details as well, just if you want to make some changes. The bar text, you can change the font here to whatever you want. One click. You can then go into the other one and make sure you're matching it as well, or you can group these two details windows together if you want to, so all the changes you make are happening in both. You can also come into bars general and change the texture. And with Altruism, he has a lot of these thin bar 7 pixel ones as well. So I can go back into this bar 1, 2, 7 pixel. Pretty easy. Gotham Narrow black. Change the font just to match there too. Obviously we're using Montserrat, so you can match the Montserrat too. But that's a quick and easy way just to get the details set up. Change the texture if you want. You can also come into bars general and change the icons here. I have some instructions in my details on how, in my Discord, on how to do that. You can also just delete this text right here if you don't want the icons. You can also, so we're on the details side of things, in Altruism, skins, add-ons, details. We have it skinned. Right now, I have this gradient name applied. You don't have to do, you can turn this off to have the white text, but we can add a white shadow, or a font shadow, I mean. You can also replace the texture, which will replace it with Altruism's gradient texture on top of this. And regardless of what texture you pick in details, even if it's a thick bar, it'll maintain the thin, like 7 pixel like this, but have a special texture from Altruism. So I can show you what that looks like. There are so many different options with Altruism as well, just to skin lots of different add-ons. Let's open up details options again. I'll do a create test bar. Now you can see what this looks like. Beautiful. So with the details, I can match this and get it in this chat background that is showing right now with the kind of the stripe look. This is a texture from mMediatag. I'll now hop into some of this that we can do to kind of make some changes around this profile. So on the chat panels, you can come into LVUI chat in panels. If you don't want them, you can hide both these panels. You'll still see this texture behind. It's this right here where it shows like interface add-ons. It's calling to this specific area now in your files, and it's applying that stripe texture. You can delete and hit OK. Delete and hit OK, and now you'll see these are just blank now. You can have these panels show if you would like. And to get the details matched in, you could either adjust the details or you can adjust the panel here to fit. So some of my profiles I have this on, but typically I have it off. I think it just looks a little bit cleaner if you do have it off. So that's what we'll do here for this. Some of the things now with unit frames that I'll mess around with. you'll see if I'm not targeting anything or if I don't click on something for a little bit, the unit frame disappears. It's just a fader. It just makes the UI look very clean and minimal when you're not in combat or if you're not missing health. If you don't want that, LVUI unit frames, individual units, player, and here's the option for fader. So you can just disable it. Now my unit frame will always show. Super easy. Some things now you can do with mMedia as well. In cosmetic portraits, we can either just turn this off if you don't want the player portraits and the target portraits. There's also a lot of options for the portraits. You can do the circle, a pillow, rectangle, this caro, which is really cool. I have a few profiles that leverage this. It looks really cool when you put it like on the frame and maybe even match it into like the power line. There's a lot you can do to make these profiles really custom and really different. And then you have this round and more of a squared corner that's very sharp at the bottom. You can even like take this and align it with the frame a little bit more. Blinkii has it offset a little bit, which I think looks really cool, but you can also line it up a little bit more if you want. You can also, if I open up the group party frames, if I were to take the debuffs over here and let's maybe put them over to the right, I can go back into mMedia and enable portraits for the party as well. And then just with some configurations, I can line these up as well. Different sizes. I can come into the unit frames if I wanted to as well for party and maybe adjust the vertical spacing so that the portraits fit a little bit better. But the portraits, really awesome option, and there's a lot you can do to make this your own. For this profile, let's actually just turn these off. And I'm going to show you how to change up this profile a little bit to match maybe some of the ones that I've released recently. So a few things that I typically do. So I'll come into unit frames, individual units. The cast bar, we can show this. It's right into the power frame right now. So it's attached to power. I can actually just detach it. Now you'll see it come down here over to the middle. I'll typically make these a little bit larger. Nice. I'll change the text to just be pure white. I like that look as well. Now with the movers, I can bring this up and turn off sticky frames. And I like to have my cast bar sometimes in the middle up here. I can then disable that. Let's bring up the player frame. It's totem tracker for some cooldowns. We can bring this over to 310 on the X. Match it here, 310. 310, 384. I'm going to resize the target cast bar too. And I'm going to put the target of target frame. Maybe let's do, I like this look where it's just like kind of underneath. Focus frame I typically bring up here. The focus target frame too. Perfect. I like these are just like little things I'm changing, but I typically like my boss button and zone ability just right by my character for easy access. I'm going to turn off the target of target frame. Typically don't need that. Let's see what this looks like. Nice. So now for the target, I'll look at the width of this frame. It's 220. So in the cast bar, I'll just match the width. I'm going to turn off the icon. And then to match the player, I'm just going to make this a white text font here as well. Love it. For the cast bar in Altruism, since we're using some gradients here, if you come into gradient colors into cast bar, you can customize pretty much everything. So the class bar, this looks really cool with this gold look actually. It's a really nice. Same with the target cast bar. Change it to whatever you want. You can change the non-interrupt. You can do a lot here. NPC cast bar, color by reaction. So there's a lot, but I typically will just try to change my personal cast bar, because that's what I'm looking at the most. Target as well, but target cast bar is typically I'm looking at their nameplates, and I'm not so much looking right here at their target unit frame. So I like the positioning here now. You can come into the unit frames, and I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. That looks good for the cast bar. And then for my unit frame as well, if I don't want it so chunky, that's a little chunkier, I think. Didn't mean to do 355, but if I change it to 35 maybe. And then even for the power, take this down a little bit too. That looks pretty good. I mean, this by itself, it looks great. And I'm just trying to show you what else you could do with this profile a little bit, but let's make the frame a little bit thinner, and same with the power. So I've gone 8 power and 35 height on the health. So in the target, try to just do this quickly too. Have that at 8. You'll see some of the text is not ideal right now. So quick fixes in player custom text. You'll have this death mouse over. So when I mouse over the player, it'll show how many deaths I've had. It has a death counter. It's a cool custom text from mMedia. Typically disable that. I don't really mind for that. And same with the group number. If you hover over, this will show what group number you're in. If you like that, it's there. It's available. The health, I'm going to make this, let's say 18. And let's bring it up on top of the frame. And then for the name, I'm going to take it out of this area from the name. I'm going to put this into custom text. So I just did a Control-C and then delete. In the custom text, you can do whatever you want. You can call it whatever, but just to keep the same here, I'll do mname, and then I'll paste that text. So now I can freely use it wherever I want. I put the y-axis for the health at 13, so let's match that with the name as well, and put it over to the left-hand side. And actually, I like the font size. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. It's a little too big. So maybe keep it at 12. And then the health, we can maybe make it a little bit bigger like that too. So even just with like a couple changes, you can see how different you can make this profile look. Just taking off the portraits and then adjusting some of the size and moving the text around. Really cool what you can do. You could also change the power here. Let's move the strata up to on top of the frame and not the background. You can even bump up the power. So you're probably familiar with this profile that I've made in a few, but that's a quick change you can do. Here, if you want the power to look a little different, if you want it to be over on the right-hand side, you can just quickly come over here into General and change the frame orientation. Over at the target, you can do the same thing. Let's move it to medium. Show the power text here too. Just gonna turn off the text there. 14, bump it up to 13. The name text. Copy this. Put it into a custom text. Go over on the right-hand side, bump it up to 13. And then if you didn't want the power text, you can just come into power. It'll show here. This also includes a PVP icon that will be displayed. So if you do want the text, it's awesome. It's there. You can also just delete this. If you don't want it, you could have this, just use the PVP and Prestige icon instead. You could also, if you wanted to, right before it says power %, I could put in power color, hit enter, and now I'll have like a blue. And for this text, I can maybe move it over to the right a little bit. Kind of looks a little different with some of the power text on the frame too. One of my newer profiles has that. And then I mentioned before that we were going to turn off the target of target of target. Don't need that. Come into party, and we kind of do the same thing here. Right, I may lengthen the frames a little bit, but then take the power maybe down to 15 and have it be spaced. Maybe we could even go 20 on this to make it a little bit bigger. So that looks okay. May make the frame even longer. And then we just need to change the height here. 35. Now the power looks way too big, so maybe let's go back down to 15. The debuffs, we can change the sizing here to match the frame. And the stat counter is a little big too, so we can bring that down. The raid debuff indicators over here on the left-hand side. We can maybe fit it in between over here. So let's bring it over to the left and down. Maybe have it right there. Looks pretty good. In the custom text, take off the death, the health, bring it to 14. The Y will be a little bit different versus the player and target frame. So we can adjust that. Maybe that is the same, around 13. Looks about right. We can grab the name from here, delete this, make a custom text for the party name too. Paste it, bring it over to the left. 13, maybe 14. I think it's because we have this target glow. We're going to turn that off too, but yeah, maybe 15 is better for the y-axis here. And then let's add a little more vertical spacing. I don't care for the power % on my party, so I'm going to delete that. And the roll icon, a little large, we can bring it down a little bit. Looks pretty good on the frame. I could also just put it over onto the left if I wanted to. I typically have Omni CD over here on the left. but I could also put Omni CD with how we have this set up right on the frame. So some things you can do, like you could keep the roll icon. It looks pretty good right there, but you can also move it over. And then let's bring down the party frames. And that's where I'm going to leave you tonight. The raid frames, you could go through a similar process, but this is a really awesome profile from Blinkii. Huge shout out to him. Like, thank you so much for creating this and sharing it so freely with all of us, because there's so much you can do. Same with Altruism. I've done the same thing where you can come into Altruism and run through his installer, and you can just take a look at his profiles as well. Like even this one that I'm creating, it looks very similar to this with the offset or spaced power bar. Got one with the info panel. Action bars are up top, but I build off of Altruism quite often as well, and he has these amazing borders that you can add to profiles. So all these profiles, all these LVUI plugins, even Bannock UI, Miraculous, they're great as a base plugin, but then there's also so much you can do to iterate on it and customize to your liking, and that's what it's all about. Making these profiles your own, making adjustments that you want to see in your own profile, just like what I did with this one. I've been loving this type of setup with the power bar and the thinner frames and the text being offset a little bit, but I'm just so appreciative to all these people that have made these plugins. They are so smart, first off, to create something like this, and then so artistic, and they're amazing. That's all I can say. So thank you all so much for creating these amazing add-ons that all of us get to use and create ourselves. Let me know what you think of this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you followed along and maybe made some quick edits yourself. I would love to see what you create. Please join the Discord and share your creations. We have a share your UI section, and people are posting in here all the time. 10 hours ago, 17 hours ago, a day ago. Lots of different inspiration you can get from people in my Discord. The LVUI Discord has great people posting as well, but I'm pretty proud of the community that we've built with Gibberish. We have over 2,300 people now in the Discord. There's almost 300 subscribers to the Discord that have access to 30 different profiles that I've created as well. And it's just been an awesome community that we've built over here. Altruism is in here, Blinkii, we got Repook from LVY, Thurin, Maximum Overdrive, so many amazing people that are active and helpful, and everyone's sharing and just having a good time in the Discord. So join us and share your UI. Let's all inspire each other and take World of Warcraft to its next level. This is how we experience the game. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.